Are you ready? Are you ready to pot it up?
Let's go. Let's have fun.
Peatcast it. This is the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast with Doug Fields,
I think it's going to be a four-shoulder touch.
Matt McGill,
Nothing says loving like a muffin.
Josh Griffin,
The internet is a hotbed of activity.
and Jana Sardi.
Podcast.
The show starts now.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Simply Youth Ministry Podcast, episode 134. Doug Fields here with my longtime dearest friend, Katie Edwards. To my left, Matt to my right, Josh somewhere in the room. And ladies and gentlemen, behind the computer, doing the live show for a little bit until he has to go speak at an FCA meeting, is Jake
Rutenbar.
the man Rutenbar.
the Snake Rutenbar.
And as always, our technical director, who only gets anything but grief, the king of IT, the man who commutes to SYM, the one who worked later than Matt yesterday when there was a lot of pressure going on.
I worked late.
I
worked
Chris,
late.
David.
I just worked
Jake,
at home.
Did you nick your head when you were shaving? You have like a little.
Oh, it's a zit.
Oh, okay.
Two hands on the computer, please.
All right, hey, let's focus. We just reminded the only person here who needs to be reminded of who our audience is. Welcome to our team members. We missed you guys last week, but we had the Suttons.
Yeah, I watched the show. It was
And
great.
Yeah,
great
So
job.
They did a good job.
Yeah, it's fun.
I left going, I'm not sure Matt and I even needed to be there.
Yeah.
They were
Very confident. They loved
Oh
it.
my God.
You could tell they
Wonderful.
were having a blast.
Well, they have their own podcast,
Yeah.
and Kathy and I were on it right before, and they do a great job, and they're wonderful people, and it was fun to be with them.
I should say they did okay.
just
Because I just don't want us to be out of a job. So I'm not going to go all in on it.
when
But
you
they
say
did
us.
us. I'm protecting
Yeah, it's
Katie.
weird.
Well, why would you protect Katie?
I've been here for 134
I feel pretty
episodes.
confident.
So, I mean, come on.
That's true.
Katie, 3 episodes. I'm
No,
just
I
trying to
know.
protect her.
I'm definitely expendable.
Katie-
and you're okay with that?
No, we actually missed being here. We
Well,
were
we
talking
talked
about
about
that
it,
because
yes.
we were on a little outing with our teams, and
That's
we talked
awesome.
about missing
This
you
is
guys.
this
guys
is an
too.
email from Lewis, and Lewis, he's a youth pastor in San Francisco, and he wrote some very, very nice stuff. And Lewis, I do remember you, and I saw the photo, and I remembered you before I saw the photo. But he does say this: "Thank you for taking the time to build us up, give us guidance, and share fellowship with all of us. Katie is a great addition to the team. She's someone my
Yes.
female youth workers could easily relate to. Great pick."
Wow.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yep.
They
We
could
took
also
some.
relate to
That's
Jake.
so nice.
I met him and his team at the Simple Youth Ministry Conference, and they were fabulous, and it was fun to see him. And I'm hoping he is coming back again to the Simple Youth Ministry
Cool.
Conference. By the way, I didn't
Yes.
even not get this from Brazelton, so this is all on my own.
Yeah.
This is legit.
This is a legit
not a
process.
It's already
commercial.
sold out?
No, wouldn't
It's
that
not
be
a
great?
commercial.
That would be
Last week,
I'm surprised
Last
it's
week,
not.
I've been trying to get Louis Giglio from the very
Oh, I
beginning.
saw that.
I am so excited.
That's
Yeah,
I am
that's
so
exciting.
excited
You got
to
him for
have
what?
He's speaking at the conference.
At
the conference.
SYMC.
Yeah.
Oh, no. We'll
just for
sell out next
just
week.
for friends. He got him. Just to
Just
hang
to
out
go
for
hang
lunch.
out at
No big
Chick-fil-A.
deal.
Got him.
Coffee later.
Just got him.
He's going to
Goofed
speak
on
a
him.
whole message.
Just goofed on him.
Did you really?
No,
Oh.
no, we got
No,
him.
he's coming to SYMC.
But there
I
is
know,
a
that's
guy.
exciting.
Let me read this Twitter to you. There is a
Okay.
guy who got me today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
I hate
A,
Twitter.
a gullible get?
Well, here's the
Or
deal.
an anger get?
No, on my Twitter it has if there's a mention of at Doug Fields, and
Yeah.
so I looked at it, and this morning he says, "How come I can direct Rick Warren but not Doug Fields? Because Doug doesn't follow followers. Sorry, Doug, I'm unfollowing you. Love the SYM podcast though." So I thought,
Oh, wow.
well, I mean, honestly, I wasn't hurt by it. I just went, well, Rick and I have a totally different philosophy on Twitter. We've had this from the very beginning, which is great now because my philosophy is winning out on his. And here's the deal, because
Yeah.
he's got like 100,000 followers and he only follows 10,000. But he said at the beginning, "Oh, you should follow everybody who follows you." And I said, "Well, that's not for me.
How can you?
I
Even?
can't. I follow like 120 people, and I can still barely, if you off it for
Totally.
8 hours,
Yeah.
you're just catching up.
Yeah.
But because so Rick is following 10,000 people, which really means he's following nobody.
You probably know.
But it means
yeah.
those 10,000 can direct message him. So,
Right.
I've had this conversation before, and so I thought, oh, okay. Well, if he wants to direct message me, he could send me an email.
Sure.
And anyway, I wrote him back and I said, hey, no big deal. Totally understand people use Twitter for different things. But I just want him to say, hey, I got it. I understand.
Yeah.
You can't direct message me, but you can send me an email.
Yeah.
And he writes back, he goes, gotcha. Laugh out loud. I knew I could smoke you out. I knew the answer just using Rick Warren to get your goat. Okay, now I'm re-following you.
Oh, that's
That is really
incredible.
funny.
Good one. It's so good I don't even want to say his name.
Oh.
Give him credit for
That's
that.
great.
Well
No,
done.
it was Jeff.
But see, here's the
Jeff
thing,
Keating.
though.
That
With
is
Twitter, you
funny.
can follow 10,000 people,
Yeah.
and there's a new function in Twitter called
Lists.
Yeah.
I just haven't set that up yet.
List, and you could have a list that says people I actually am really following.
Yeah.
or really
Like
care
I've got,
about, or
I've
Yeah,
got
but
like
so then-
4 or 5 lists.
Yeah,
and I
but-
try and hit them at
This is
different.
hard to keep up with.
It is hard.
I like the
I
people
follow
I'm doing
16
life
people,
with.
that's it.
16.
Yeah,
that's
people you
it.
do life
Well,
with, that's
not-
great.
Yeah, we've never talked about Katie Edwards' Twitter.
It's
on
not.
the show.
It's not special though, like other people's. I mean, yours
Like-
is like ministry tips, and mine's.
Josh
really-
is just like,
Describe mine.
check out my blog,
I follow you.
cha-ching, or buy your
More than
products through my stuff,
dodgeball.com.
cha-ching.
No, every once
You
in a
should
while I'll
actually
put
call it
something on there.
cha-ching.com.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a Twitter to make my husband laugh during the day more than
That's,
anything.
Yes.
So
his Twitter is very funny too.
that's
I like
it.
his.
So it's not really for a purpose.
Yeah.
It's just for fun.
That's fair.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the deal. We're going to go to lunch afterwards so we can kind of do this stuff that nobody cares about. At lunch. All right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey,
Okay.
so last week I
Who's
brought
leading
this
this
'cause
conversation?
me. I'm the
Okay.
second host. Josh is the real host.
Hey,
of the
host,
show.
will you
You
get
heard
us
it
on
here.
track?
But we had kind of an unofficial sponsor last week.
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
big
I'm-
box
I'm-
on the table.
Well, there's a box on the table, and here's my favorite part of it.
What?
My favorite part was taking all the shirts so that you wouldn't be left.
No, it was very, very sad I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Jealous. I
Yeah.
figure they're hidden somewhere in SYM
Matt, no,
offices.
they're not. They're actually distributed. Yeah. Yeah, Youth Stuff gave us a bunch of clothes. Now, here's the deal. They just sent a box, and they kind of became the sponsor of the show because they gave us free
Yeah.
stuff. And here the
Which
thing
isn't
is,
really
you
how it
and I
works.
have been using 180living.com for
Right, a long
how
time.
long?
Yeah,
yeah,
forever.
and that felt I felt a little awkward when you and I we've ordered all of our shirts, we've done all of our stuff with 180living.com. So I actually called my buddy Kevin and I said,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to send a box of stuff, the whole bit, I said, why don't you give our team a deal, and we'll give you equal billing
Oh,
to
awesome.
the youth
Yeah.
stuff folks. So he said 30% off web orders until May 31st, which is only Monday. So it's pretty much the live show. We need to change that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Let's give him an extra week.
Let's go
'Cause
till
we won't even
June
post this
7th.
till after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30% is a pretty good deal.
But
though.
use the code DOUG.
Which
that's
is
nice.
that spells Doug.
Dowg.
180living.com.
Good job.
So they make
30%
shirts. They
off.
make shirts big enough for you and me.
They do, and they actually
It's like half
more
Josh's
than dodgeball
wardrobe
shirts.
is 180 shirts.
Oh, really?
It is
Yeah,
just about.
they're great.
Maybe more
I
than
mean,
that.
I'm bigger than Josh, but not that much bigger. We probably wear the same size shirt.
2XL.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Josh weighs more than you. What do you weigh?
Well, you're taller.
312 this morning.
You're killing him, McGill.
Well,
we're not even talking about
Yeah,
that.
we don't have a competition.
No, I know.
We could.
Yeah.
No.
You guys want to fight?
If it's a competition, you'll win.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
No.
Anyway, this week we do have an official sponsor.
Nice.
Yes, it's
We
ours.
do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Josh,
we
you
do.
have it.
I got it right here.
We do.
Go ahead.
There we go. Today's Simply Youth Ministry podcast is sponsored by the brand new book by Doug Fields and Josh Griffin titled Live Large, Be Different, and Shine Bright 12 Contagious Qualities for Healthy Relationships. This book is available for $9.99 at simplyyouthministry.com. For years, Doug has been searching for the right person to write with who has insight, synergy, and a command of the English language in the world of teenagers.
How can one person have synergy?
Doug has found that in Josh. It has always been Doug's dream to work with such an inspirational and creative author like Josh Griffin in creating what's become the must-read book for all teenagers. Doug is so enthralled with Josh's contributions to the project that he's realized that the future of the church just isn't enough. He needs people who understand the world of teenagers. Doug is looking forward to working with Josh on their next title, 99 Thoughts for World of Warcraft Youth Ministry.
There it is. The unofficial sponsor.
Oh,
If we don't have a sponsor, I think our sponsor should be just how do we get Matt?
Get Matt is the
it's
key.
so
yeah.
easy.
Katie,
Do you
last
have
week.
the book?
Oh, the book's out. Last
I've
week.
seen it
I've
yet.
never seen a real copy.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't got
really?
one either.
Yeah.
They just came
I have
out
to
last
order
week.
it from
no,
Simply.
well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's how much confidence they had in us.
Yeah.
The minute it came out, they had already sold out of whatever their print run was. So the
Yeah.
second edition was out before we even got to see
So
the
we
first
can't
one.
even be flattered because the first number was so low.
Either
apparently.
that it was so low, or sales were just
Or
off
it's
the
the
roof.
must-read book
So anyway,
for students.
Off the roof,
That's
I
right.
bet.
Yeah,
You
off the
know,
hook.
Matt gave us grief that of all these years, how come Matt and I haven't written a book together? And so Josh and I did, and he got all mad. So last week when you weren't here, I wrote up a little sponsor thing that we were sponsored by, and I had Matt read it. And so he started, and I'm like, wait a minute. It was a great
That
day.
was, that's
it-
strong.
Not
Did
a,
you read-
it was
Oh my
great,
God.
better last week than
We
this
should
week.
write something together.
Seriously.
That would be
You
fun.
should. Me and you can write something.
That'd be
What
awesome.
would our two worlds colliding look like? I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
Not sure.
Awesomeness.
Hair tips. You could totally both do that.
Yes.
Wait, are you guys going to talk about the project that you two are collaborating on, or is that not even? I shouldn't.
Oh, we are supposed to talk about it actually.
We're supposed to? What's
Well,
the
I don't know
difference?
about supposed to
That feels
because
like a
it
setup.
comes.
That
out-
feels like a setup now. As the host, I have to just.
Well, just
And-
give us some
and-
thoughts on what it's about. That's fun.
Do you want to talk about it now, or you want to talk about it later?
We can talk about it later.
You
Great.
sure? We're very excited about it.
Very
I
excited.
just saw
We've
the
been
first
spending-
draft. It looked awesome.
It's
yeah,
great.
It's
We're
going to
very
be
excited.
great. Yeah, we're
What
announcing
if we
it
didn't?
this
What,
week.
what if we didn't say it till next week? Because now it feels like our
Yeah,
team, our
that's fair.
team outside,
That's
is
fair.
now
It's
like gonna be
building
like, la, 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 la,
tension.
what do you
Yes.
guys talk about?
But when will this get posted?
No, we need to talk about it.
This will get posted. Yeah, so that's the day.
Okay.
Yeah, June 1st.
Oh, next Tuesday. That's
I'm-
fine.
yeah.
I'm off tomorrow and Monday's a holiday.
June 1st. We're going to send an email out to our entire
make an announcement.
team to make an announcement that Matt and I, starting the second week of June, are doing a daily email called the Youth Ministry Daily.
That's right.
It's all youthministry.com daily.
Youthministry.com
It
daily.
looks cool.
It's we're
That's
excited
exciting.
about
I'm
it.
It's
excited about it.
great.
How much does it cost?
It's free.
That was a setup.
I'm like, when you said that, I was like, wait, what are you talking about?
Well, here's where
No,
my
'cause
mind
that's
went
the
to when he
catch.
said, how much does it cost? I thought, Josh is always about, like, more than dodgeball.
I gotta
TM
make
sales.
exactly.
I gotta make some
And
money
so I
on
got
that.
a little like, whoa, we're not like you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's
No,
free.
that's what I'm saying. It feels like a big promotional pitch, but it's a free killer daily resource. Is it 5 days a week, 7 days a week?
Yeah, I mean, this was the
It's awesome.
main.
4
This
days a
was
week.
the main reason why I
With a
came and
little
took
asterisk.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day, 4 days a week.
Yeah, every day, daily. So
And
yeah.
knowing
That's
us, it'll
cool.
be 2 to
Yeah.
3
Yeah,
times
so
a
I'm
week.
excited.
And is
Yeah.
it just going to be like encouragement and thoughts
Just
and tips and meshing
Thoughts,
all
ideas,
of the things?
insights, principles on leadership,
Cool.
youth ministry leadership, and relationships. And we're already done with June.
Yeah, we've got
No
June
way.
written and
Yep.
in the can. It's not like we're sitting around at 5 o'clock and going, oh, what are we going to write tomorrow? I mean, we're putting
Totally.
a lot of thought and
Um,
brainstorming and
How do you
500 words, 600
you
words?
sign up for
No,
it?
it'll be short. It'll be like
Good.
400.
Oh, that's perfect.
400 words, don't you think?
yeah, somewhere
forget what our
between,
word count
yeah,
is.
like
I s-
300 to 400 words.
It's not one of those
Cool.
things. We want it to be one of those things that you can like look. Okay, I'm done.
yeah,
As opposed to like file. Let's read it
No, I
later
agree.
because I have so many of those. I'll read it later that I never read.
I have like a
Yeah.
30-minute podcast rule and about a 400 or 500 word whatever reading
yeah.
rule.
It'll be
Yeah,
under
never finish
it'll
the
be
book
under
in a month.
400 words for the
I
most
know.
part. If it's over 400, we'll just split it into 2 days.
Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
But we're very excited.
That's
about it.
cool.
So
Matt, you guys have seen our office, but the rest of our team hasn't seen it. Matt and I are basically we're still waiting for our restaurant booths.
yeah.
But Matt and I have a conference table, kind of
You're
like
best
this.
buds.
and
You
we're
have best buds
we're-
desks.
We do, don't we?
You play Battleship all
We
day.
have-
Totally.
Computers
We're
are
just-
back
we're
to
right
back.
there.
It's like
Actually,
best
back to
buds.
back is too far away, so they actually overlap it.
They
just a
kind
little
of
bit,
do. Well,
and
Matt's Macintosh is so much bigger than mine, and he
Yeah.
I mean, he types
reflects
like this.
and
He
reflects
just lays that over
intellect
the table, so we've actually
inside.
converged with like
Yeah.
footsies.
That's
Yeah.
what best
is
buds
great.
do
And you're
when
writing
they
this
share
free
a
stuff
desk.
together. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's great. It's great. Having a ton of fun doing it. And
It's great. I love it.
So-
I love it.
Very
New
excited.
energy. Here's 10 years of marriage, 9 years of ministry, 3 boys under the age of 6. I'm taking
Hey.
my wonderful wife to Orange County, California. It's our first big vacation, just the two of us since our honeymoon. It's from Jeff Hayes from Texas. He says, my big question is, what are the top 5 things we should do when we visit? Number 1 on our list is to worship with you guys at Saddleback. What are the next 4? I'm particularly interested in hearing ideas from Doug and Josh, since not all of us marry into money like Matt.
We gotta cut that, you guys.
That's the only reason I read it.
I know.
We're not going to
That's-
spend time giving him
Come
ideas.
on.
I just thought that was a great line. Not all of us marry into money. Well, here's what I love about it. I love that our team, our extended team, knows so much about our personal lives.
Oh yeah.
Well, not so much
I would-
about Josh's.
Yeah, like his kids' names.
Children 1, 2, 3,
Like,
and 4. Which
yeah,
is fine.
I know, but
Totally
I
does.
could share
It
anything.
gets
Can we just
confusing,
not
to
talk
be
about
honest.
that?
I'm not talking about your in-laws' money anymore.
Okay, and we're not reading about it anymore?
I
Well-
can't promise that because the agenda is really
Please,
whatever our
just-
team.
All I
sends
would
it.
say to the guy who's going to visit is, if you're truly on vacation, like come to church to worship. Don't hang
talk.
out for 3 hours and
Yeah.
interview everybody. Just bring your family, have fun, worship
Yeah.
with us, and then
Yeah,
Yeah,
come
get,
next
get
week.
back to the beach. Man.
Come next week.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm speaking next week in high school.
Yeah.
Right?
You are. I'm excited.
And you're gonna have a fun time, because is there anything cool in Texas?
No.
No, this is way
Barbecue.
better.
Dang, I was expecting to get some heat from you guys on
No,
that.
no,
I'm
ribs
making
have-
fun of the biggest state, right? Okay.
It's really a country.
It's like
not so
number
much a
4
state.
in my
This
mind.
is from Chris Troxel from Port Huron, Texas. Just kidding. Port Huron, Michigan. He writes the longest letter I've gotten in a while, but I read the whole thing.
Way more
this
longer
If
is,
it was a
than
youth
our
ministry
emails would
daily,
be.
it'd be 5 parts.
yeah, this would be part 4. But he does say, on some levels, the actual sense knowing all of you, that we're on the same team, and the Spirit has used all of you in the episodes to encourage me, to weird out my office staff with random laughter, since they can't hear what I'm listening to challenge me in my leadership and student ministry, cause temporary hearing loss caused by McGill shrieks, and help me stay sane amidst tough seasons. Anyway, very, very nice letter. I'm just getting to some of the others.
very
This
cool.
guy wrote
You're
about
welcome.
our book, Josh, the new one that is excellent. Live large, be different.
The one
shine
we haven't
bright.
seen yet.
Is
Yeah.
there any word that's not in that title?
It's really inspiring.
He says you guys are giving Josh.
on that one.
It's next
You guys are
level.
giving Josh a very hard time about the new book with Doug, so here was the subject line of the newsletter, quote, new Doug Fields book for students and $5 shipping. Poor Josh, not even a mention unless you look at the small picture in the book and see his name in tiny
Unless you
letters.
magnify it to pixel. Yeah,
I
that would be
understand.
beautiful.
And here's what's funny
It's
about
okay.
it. I saw it,
Yeah.
and I didn't think that at all. But here's what I did think.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought we had a typo in there. It should have been Doug Fields
Apostrophe.
apostrophe. I didn't think.
Wait, so you care more about the apostrophe than me?
Honestly, I didn't.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't think
How
about.
does it feel writing one of his books?
Tell you what. Yeah.
Oh, that's called a reversal.
This is why
Yeah.
Matt always said no.
Okay, let's be totally honest now. Did I have anything to do with that at all?
Oh,
did
of
I
course
have
not.
any?
No,
did I have any?
of
No,
course
you
not.
didn't.
That's what makes it funnier, is
But-
that some marketing guy did and said, well, Griff's name isn't going to help this at all.
It
And made the call.
Actually, we
No,
had
but
written
you
a
did have-
different subject line, and Brazelton changed it to that.
Oh,
no,
really?
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
But you are in complete control over just noticing the apostrophe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I noticed, but here's what I did. Do you think I did anything about it? Do you think I shot Andy an email and said, "Hey, we need an apostrophe"?
No, but you could have shot Josh an email and said, "Man, I'm really sorry.
I
You
could've.
must be
You know,
I
it,
could've.
it was no big deal. Once I was able to wipe away the tears,
The
and see,
tears
and see
to
the
actually
screen
see
again,
the
I was
very
like,
email.
I'll just delete.
He just wants an ask.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I was
Great.
already that book, because it's been out for 2 weeks now. I was already on to the next one, which I'm editing Josh's 99 Thoughts for Small Group Leaders, which Kate wrote the forward to. And in the whole thing, it says edited by
It's funny.
Matt McGill. And I thought,
It says
"Oh,
edited by
God."
Matt McGill?
Yeah, I mean, I think I actually said, "Oh God," at that point.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like I thought, edited
A
by
prayer?
Matt McGill. Oh God, I really have to edit this thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't like line edit it.
Man,
oh, yeah.
well, so far I'm not even sure you conceptually. edited it.
Conceptually,
No, just kidding. Just kidding. It's very
When
good.
it comes out, it'll be by Doug Field.
Doug Fields book. Yeah, it's the last time you asked him to read one.
I deserve it. It'll be a much
Yeah.
better book if you write it.
99 thoughts.
No, it's good. It's really,
I am
really
the
good.
equivalent of, I'm less than an apostrophe. That's good to know.
No, here's the deal.
No,
I'm
you're
working.
not.
Here's how excited Simply Youth Ministry is about it. I'm actually working on a devotional book, and with the working title "Jesus Loves Me, This I Know, but Everybody Else Doesn't Like Me."
Awesome. Another long title.
That's good. I like long titles.
Wordy.
Yeah, but this one only has Doug Fields on the cover so far.
Hopefully, I'll be the editor.
Oh gosh. Oh, gosh. You might be. I may need you to. But so I'm working on that book, and I have a due date on that. And when the dean says, "Will you read Josh's book?" And I said, "Well, absolutely." But when he goes, "Oh, we're excited about Josh. If you could read Josh's first." Oh wow!
Exactly.
All right, I'll take that.
dean,
It's
yeah.
makeup, but I'll still take it.
Oh,
That's great.
that was
right.
good.
That was
It's
nice.
the truth.
It was warm.
The team is really looking out for you.
Deem is hooking me up. That's great.
Hey, just an update from Joe Sellers. Joe is from Morristown, Tennessee, and several months ago, he gave us an update about his wife having stage 4 colon cancer. And she's not cancer-free yet, but she is on her 5th round of chemo. The tumor has reduced, and they're just praying for no side effects. And he was part of the Biggest Loser contest, and then kind of gave up because of all the stuff that was going on, which was understandable. But he wanted to know if he could get a copy of the book that we sent to the contestants who were the Biggest Loser. And I thought to myself, I wonder whoever said that. I'm looking at you, Chris.
That book is not finished yet.
Oh, the book is not finished, but we are going to.
Yeah, I did send a thing to everyone letting them know as soon as it's out.
Oh, okay.
What book were we giving away? I don't even
I
remember.
think interns from
Live
start to
large,
finish. Or,
be
Wanted
different.
to start to finish ones.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
supposed
cool.
to be done.
yeah,
I don't know.
99 Thoughts for Small Group Leaders.
Hey, that's coming out in July, guys. Buy it on more than Doug. Written by Doug Fields.
Okay, Katie.
Yes.
Brazel's the one. We really need to rake Brazel over the coals for that one.
No,
Well,
it's
Yeah.
Oh,
I no.
Okay.
He's the right. It's the right.
Well,
thing.
we don't
It's
need to
all-
rake anybody over the coals. That's not how
Well,
we
it
do
was
it.
Just like
metaphorical.
gently
I get
pull.
raked over the coals on a minute-by-minute basis. What are you
But
talking
you are
about?
much more deserving. Than Brazelton didn't marry into money.
Oh!
I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm not going to say that anymore.
Yeah.
Look, he looks.
He likes it.
That was kind of a get on Jake.
Oh. All right, here we go.
All right, this is Jeff Hansen from North Hills Church in Brea, California. Believe it or not, I'm almost caught up on all the podcasts. Love what you do. I've been a youth pastor for 7 years, and in my current church about a year and a half. My question is about small groups. When I got here, the model of small groups was that they started each year in September. I like the idea of doing life with the same kids all through high school, but how do I get new kids in groups and plugged in midway through the year? I hate telling a kid that they have to wait X amount of months before they can get plugged in, but none of my leaders want to add people. Any insights would be helpful.
That's a great question.
That's a really good
All right.
question.
Well, this time of the year, we actually have just 2 or 3 weeks left, and so we would say at this point it's too late. But mid-year ads are difficult, and we just try to find groups that have a little bit of margin, or they started out big and have shrunk down a little bit and could use an extra person or two. Especially if there's a friend connection, we'll really try to get that kid into that group. But it's difficult. We do the same thing. September until about right now, May, June, is our small group season. And also one of the things we're trying this summer, it's kind of our non-small groups thing we're doing this summer, is called midweek. And it's a chance for people who would normally be in a small group to hang out together and worship and learn and kind of have a little bit of a large group community feel through the summer. So if a kid's trying to join right now, we wouldn't let him. We would actually push him towards midweek and get him signed up in the fall. And just do our best to plug him in.
Now,
throughout
who's
year.
the creative team that came up with the title Midweek? Because that's
Oh,
stunning.
yeah.
It's next
Well,
level.
technically,
The
Jake,
same team that came up with HSM.
Jake, it's a cool
Next
logo because
level.
it has mid
I'm
and
sure
then
it's great.
WE and
I'm-
EK.
Look at this right
They're
here.
pretty cool. When you see it, you're gonna
Don't
be
feel
like,
nervous
get-
about it.
you're gonna be like, I'm gonna trademark that and write a book about it.
Josh Griffin's Midweek.
Midweek. And
So
it's a
they're
Wednesday.
dork
Well,
guys.
but
Next
here's what
level.
Jeff says. I mean,
And it's on Tuesday.
You didn't
Oh,
really
you
answer the
didn't.
question. You kind of told
Yeah.
what you guys do, which is great, which sounds like what Jeff does, but he says
Totally.
none of my leaders want to add people.
Well, that's for
That's
Katie to
normal.
step in to take
Yeah,
that
there we
part of
go.
the answer.
Well,
I'm just
I
setting
I
up.
definitely think that it's a good thing to make that part of leader training up at the front. You know, when you kind of gather all your leaders and you rally them for the school year, I think it's great to kind of lay out the vision as a whole for small groups and let them know, hey, the vision is to get as many students into this small group program as possible. And so we might be starting looking one way, but know that we might have students along the way adding in and kind of hopefully get leaders excited about having that open chair in their small group, you know. And I think sometimes I get that sometimes adding people in can throw off chemistry and things like that, but sometimes, you know, adding students in makes your group even that much better. And so, you know, kind of erring on the side of that faith that that open chair is going to be great for the student and great for your group, and for leaders to kind of get buy-in with that early on, I think is a cool thing, you know, and to continue if you can, if it's possible, to add leaders so that there are co-leaders available to split groups off and do that if possible. I think we try to do that. Those are all really difficult things, but I definitely think presenting that in the beginning of the year of here's the vision. The vision is you know, we want to add kids all year long.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, as we're gearing up for September for him to do this again, you know, let's play around with the idea of what if you said, here's our ideal. Our ideal is that would stay a closed group. That's what everybody wants.
Right.
So if we're going to live with the ideal, what if we always had somebody waiting in the wings ready to take newbies? And the newbies are going to be from September through November, whatever. And that leader, they're taking the newbies and we lock something in and they last for the rest of the year.
And then you start a new newbie group in
Now,
January
right,
through May.
but if the ideal doesn't work, then, you know, the default is you're pulling that leader aside and going, I know you've got great chemistry going on here.
Yeah.
But we talked about it at our leader training in August, and I need you to take this kid.
The
And would
toughest
you
thing
have a
is they
leader?
come in one at a time. So even in a newbie group, you know, the struggle of so you're meeting with maybe one kid and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later you get another kid. And so that it's definitely, I can sympathize with that newbie leader too of it would be hard to get that newbie group getting some momentum, you know, so.
But it could also be a great way. You take a new volunteer
Definitely.
who potentially isn't ready for 6 kids, but could meet one-on-one with some people for 3 weeks in a row, and you know.
And we love one-on-one, so that's not necessarily a negative thing. For sure.
Jeff also writes that he took a couple leaders to Kenya with you guys last week, and said it changed their lives. Thanks for being a part of it. And I circled Kenya because, Katie, one of the things I was thinking about.
I love Kenya.
I know you do, and I was thinking, what if we
Sent me to Kenya? Sure.
Well, what if we did? What if we
I'm
did?
in.
Kenya.com.
Come with
What
me,
if we
team.
did a Simply Youth
Kickstarter.com.
Ministry trip to Kenya, you and I,
Okay.
and we see if any youth workers would like to come to Kenya where we go.
Wow.
And bring their youth groups?
No, would you let me finish, Matt? You don't have to jump in. That's what a lot of, you know.
Yeah, if you could talk a little faster, it'd be great.
We take youth workers, so it's a youth ministry trip to
Cool.
Kenya, expose them to it, and say, if you wanted to come back with your youth ministry, you could, we could either collectively do something, but I think it'd be fun to take 20 youth workers to Kenya and
Well,
expose
you've
Well,
been
but
a
we
few
need to
times.
do a little backup though, and say that Jake's dad has been going to Kenya for 100 years, and so we have huge infrastructure
How many
there.
times have you been there? You've
It's
been there.
not like we'd be going,
A
or
lot.
you guys would
No,
be
no,
going.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
That we already have. So
Some
basically, what we'd be
relationships,
saying
great
is,
partners.
we're only taking high school kids there once a year, maybe
Absolutely, yeah.
twice.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves 50 other weeks that we could expose other youth ministries
Cool.
to, and be fun to
It's a
do
neat-
that. If you're interested,
neat
send me
place.
something at sympodcast@gmail.com. We'll see if we can't collect some people and do a trip.
Now, is there a minimum? Like, if we get
I know,
2
we'll have
people,
to
can we
figure
still
that out.
go?
14.
Do we have to get
Yeah, I
like
don't
12?
know.
That's too specific.
Well, if you go with, I would think that would be a super incentive to hang out with us if we were going.
So you're going now?
Well, I was trying to get in on it.
Yeah,
Sounded like a free trip.
didn't you see, like, if you trailed his logic, if you go, it seems like it'd be really fun that we would all be there.
I'm just saying, if I'm a youth pastor on our team watching and the podcast crew is going, that's
think it would
a
be
trip of
Yeah,
trips.
like you're saying that there might be a youth pastor out there that hates Kenya, but
But
loves
would be
Doug,
like, hey,
and would maybe go
I'm just wondering if
because of
Kenya's
that.
the right answer or if we should start doing cruises. That's all I'm saying.
I
What,
think,
you just wonder,
yeah.
don't you think?
Don't you think? What if?
yeah.
No.
I think Kenya would
What
be
if-
awesome.
It would be. It would be.
Can
Cruise
you-
idea
yeah.
is great too.
Seriously.
I had a travel agent call me last week and
No.
said, travel agent called and said, would you like to do a trip to the Holy Land? And we would pay for you to go. Not only pay for you to go, we would pay you to go. I go, how do you pay me to go to Israel? Go, well, we would get people from the church, so thinking
Yeah.
that Saddleback people are going to go,
Right.
oh, Israel with Doug Fields. And instead of paying $3,000, they pay $3,500.
Right.
And that extra money
Yeah.
goes to me. And I said, you've just described my personal hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Not going to Israel would be your personal.
because the Hinnom Valley.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, Jake said I would go to hell for going
Yeah.
off that trip.
Jesus
No,
would be
that's,
like, take
yeah.
that back.
all right, this is from Jeff Stewart from Surrey,
Armageddon.
British Columbia. I love Surrey, British Columbia. Surrey. I don't know, there's no L.
They're very
Let's see.
angry people.
Here's my dilemma. I am seeing some of our 8th grade female students beginning to text and Facebook our older guys, strong Christian guys. There's nothing bad, but the optics for the parents of the grade 8 girls is not great. The optics for the parents.
Like
So-
them seeing it. Is this another country?
Yeah, British Columbia.
Texas.
Canadians.
It could be French Canadians.
That's true.
There's a difference.
Thank you.
I don't know what the difference is, but
So the parents
some
seeing
speak French
it-
and some.
no, it's more than language. Trust me.
Well, anything related to geography and current events, I do trust you, Matt. You are.
Well, it's neither of those.
So you want to go on a cruise?
So we got busted for
cruise to Kenya.
Twitter conversation was off topic.
You know what?
Oh, we couldn't talk, but
And
this.
as soon as this is over, I'm calling the Suttons and see if they'd be back next week. So should I step in and ask it to stop the texting and Facebook, or be encouraging these older guys that if they do text them out of friendship, that they see themselves as godly men who value these girls as women and not as sex objects that they may be treated like at school. I see value in having guys who are older being positive male influences, investing socially into these girls, if anything, to show them that they matter and God made them great.
I think neither of those options.
Okay, what's your
Yeah,
option?
give us another one.
Well, I don't think, because I shouldn't say neither. The first one for sure, where he says, should I tell him not to do it? I think that's, and maybe that's not your heart. I mean, that's what we read and what we heard, or what I heard. But I think that it's cool to ask questions, to say, hey, so what are you looking for? Why does this looks, I mean, I think it's better to ask questions and wonder. But I think one of the options that's not on there is, it's cool for the parents to say something. I mean, empower the parents to talk to their own kids to handle that. I mean, I don't think you should feel the pressure, optics or no optics. I think, it's the parents' responsibility.
Callback humor.
Thank you. But I think also, I do say, the second thing he said, him talking to the other guys, I think talking to the other guys is a good idea. To say, hey, look, I see this happening. I'm not telling you who you could talk to and who you can't. I wouldn't do any good anyhow. But do you know what this looks like? Do you know what this could lead to? Do you know how parents could interpret this and misunderstand
Would
it?
you start with the idea that it's probably harmless and not a big deal, or would you come from the angle of, maybe a little stronger than that?
Either way, I mean, unless it was like, okay, if it's innocent, harmless, or unless it was catastrophic,
Right.
like, hey, last night we met and that was fun. I mean, unless it was catastrophic, I would still have a question stance. Was that what are you looking at me like that for?
I'm just
I-
catastrophic. Hey, we met last
Well,
night. and
I'm
that was
trying to
fun.
not be graphic.
Catastrophic.
Look at that.
That
Look at
was
me. I'm
He's being
Catastrophic. I'm
conservative.
I'm
pregnant.
restrained.
He's
Look
being
at that.
conservative.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah.
Okay,
I'm,
yeah.
Why wouldn't you not encourage my restraint?
No, I am encouraging your discernment, but using the word catastrophic, and we met last night. It's
Well,
not,
I
hey,
just-
it was
You're just
catastrophic.
alluding
I
to
saw
what
you at
happened when you
McDonald's
met last
night.
night.
That's right. That's right.
Right, because I'm not sure a senior texting an 8th grade girl is the end of the world.
Right.
But I think, I
And he said that. I don't think anything bad's.
Right.
But I love good questions. Like I think so much can stem from good
Yes.
encouraging
Yeah.
parents to ask good questions and just
Absolutely.
be involved in social media stuff. And I think educating parents, hey, Facebook and text and all the stuff is out there. Here's some education
Yeah.
and here's some great questions to ask, and asking great questions to your students, 8th grade girl and guy, of like,
Yeah.
hey, how's this going? What's this look like? I mean, Facebook, you can look. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Mom
Why,
and dad
why is
isn't
an
on-
8th grade girl texting a senior guy?
well, it's funny because in our setting, our rooms for both of our services are face each other. So our junior highs and our high school students are mixing. So I feel like I've seen a lot more of that. Just 8th graders who are sneaking up into high school a little early and just Josh did this thing that was You on the Weekend, and a lot of our 8th graders wanted to go to their high school's service. Which
The one they were going to be going to.
the
in
one that they
fall.
were going to be going
Yeah.
to, and so I think I've just seen a lot more of that mixing happening because we're together more. So in a church setting, I think when you have those grades mixing, they mix.
Yeah.
I think with 8th grade girls, there's a lot more fascination with older guys and
Yeah.
just that cool factor, and you're driving and you're just so so definitely on the 8th grade girl part, it's a lot more fantasy and like this is so
Yeah.
exciting, and the senior guy part, it could be either. I mean, it could be very innocent, like, hey, it's so fun, you're this
Yeah.
cute little 8th grader who thinks I'm cool because I go to this high school or whatever, know.
Right.
I mean, so I think it can, and then, or I think sometimes there's senior guys who are also like younger girls, so that
Yeah.
happens too.
But
So I mean,
it
it's
could be
both.
I mean, it
and
could be over the
it
line.
could be weird. It
absolutely
could be
could be
inappropriate
yeah.
for sure.
But it
For
could also
sure.
be an opportunity for a senior, my son Cody,
Right.
for him to go, I understand that when I respond back to this girl,
Yeah.
that I can be promoting junior high events, and it's so great you're involved
Yeah,
in
there's
ministry, and do
Exactly.
you know Katie? Have you met her yet?
Right.
And, kind of play that more ministerial
Right.
pastor role.
Well, especially because we're asking seniors in high school to actually minister
Serve in
to our
junior high,
7th and
yeah.
8th grade students.
We
So
have a lot of seniors.
part of it is
Yeah.
we're trying to connect those two age groups. So that's why I threw out the question of, is it just inherently bad?
Right.
Because I would argue that if it is, which I don't think it is, but if it is, then we need to stop this connection
No,
between
it's
a
not
senior guy
inherently bad. I mean,
mentoring a wild
And
side.
we have
Well,
a lot
he
of
asked
great
a
senior guys.
he asked a follow-up question. Have you or would you step in if you saw a relationship that you considered predatory, i.e., an
Absolutely.
older guy dating a younger girl?
Absolutely step in.
Because
Yeah.
it could be catastrophic.
And
They could be
well,
meeting
we
each
had
other.
fun last night. But I'll say the bigger issue than this, I think, is it just underscores the importance for relational ministry. Because when there's relationships,
Totally.
handling stuff like this is so much easier than when
Absolutely.
you're the pastor and you
Yeah.
are descending
Your
from
cold
Mount,
conversation
whatever,
with
and just
somebody. Yeah.
here's my wisdom for you to follow. But when you're friends, I mean, I don't know how many times I told Jake to stop texting freshmen when he was in high school.
It's tough because the inbox of your phone, your text message inbox, is a secret place. It's one of the few places that your parents don't go, that no one else knows about. It's a personal, private, much like your Facebook inbox too. Lots of what you do on Facebook is public, but you have a secret place, and there
Always will be
usually
a secret place.
right. Usually that will be used for fine things, good things. But there are occasions when
Yeah.
secrets are bad. I think it's a great chance to teach parents about get on Facebook.
That's okay.
There was
Talk about
I
your
know
phone.
one parent who she was on the person's Facebook. Actually, she wouldn't care if I said her name, but I won't. Who said, "Hey, you're going to." Her daughter was going to a party, and she's like, "Oh, are you guys going to be drinking like you did last time?" But on the the wall where everyone can see it and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so
Cynthia Hamrick?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
exactly.
so
and
awesome.
so Stevie made her not a friend anymore. And actually, it wasn't. To be honest with, just in case anybody knows, it wasn't Stevie who was drinking. She said, "Is there going to be drinking there?"
Yeah.
So,
But right out on the wall.
but right on the
Posted
wall,
on
and
her
so now
wall.
now her mom is not a friend. She can't be a friend. She's not friended on her daughter's book.
Oh,
Facebook.
Yeah.
goodness.
Facebook.
which in my family you wouldn't access Facebook if
Yeah.
we weren't your friends.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
part of the
Right.
Facebook world.
Absolutely.
Totally.
But there are, like somewhere in this pile, I read a question from somebody, and I apologize, I don't know, I couldn't find it. I was trying to look for it in a transition, but it was, you're a youth worker and you see inappropriate things. We've had this question before,
Yeah.
like he
Yeah.
was saying, I've got kids that are be coming home this summer, and I've been on their Facebook when they were away at college, and they would be, seeing their posts and effing this and effing that, and do you
Yeah.
respond?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Absolutely.
That's a really good question. But I think that goes back to relational.
If you have a
Do
relationship.
you
The-
respond
yeah.
on the wall?
I
Probably
think
not.
relationships definitely give you a key into
Yeah, I mean, there's a kid that right now is leading a junior high small group, and he had something on his wall, and I saw him a couple months ago, and it wasn't bad, but I just thought, dude, if you're leading a small group, you shouldn't have this,
Yeah. Well, we've asked.
and it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't.
No, but I
horrible,
think
you know,
that's-
but
That's a good question.
yeah.
And it's
right.
all part of the discipleship process where that kid probably never thought, oh, wait, I'm a leader on
Yeah.
Sunday morning,
Right.
and this is my private world,
Yeah.
and now you're making comments about my private world. Like, I think
Yeah.
most kids are like, oh, I never even really thought about that those two.
bye, Jake.
Sure.
We
Bye,
love-
Jake. Have a
we
great
love
time
you.
at FCA.
See you at
See
1:15.
you.
Is he going to join us?
Should.
Yeah, he is.
This is from Tracy Travis. Travis Tracy. I like this. Travis Tracy pronunciation. Travis.
I know that was funny. I saw
That's
that too.
actually good. From Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'll try to keep this short in case you use it on the podcast. I've already sent an email to Matt from his awesome blog, and he has responded, unlike Josh does. But I would like to hear from others too.
I've got a lot less readers than Josh does.
Yeah, he didn't actually say that. I just made that up.
Yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah,
my
blog-
heart,
I'm an
Josh.
apostrophe. Don't worry about it.
My blog's a lot better though.
Well, it's much better than morethandodgeball.com.
Remember that one?
Is that still up somewhere?
No, I don't think
Oh,
so.
too bad.
Yeah. He says, I understand that this question may be a little awkward because you are selling the Live curriculum, but I know you guys attempt to be real on the podcast, and
Attempt
that's
to
all
be
I
real?
can. He's referring to Josh.
Oh,
Wow! Here is the background
Sorry,
situation.
host.
Wow.
sorry. Good job.
Little something in there.
I'm a volunteer youth worker at our church. I do all the teaching. My issue is that I work full-time outside of this, and I believe the youth group is suffering because of my inability to really devote the necessary time to developing the needed relationship with them. I spend about 5 or 6 hours per week preparing for my message. I get up, deliver it, and then go home. We have other leaders handling the music and a couple of the other areas. I've contemplated to use this limited time that I have in other ways because what is going on doesn't seem to be working. Numbers on the decline. There seems to be less passion than there were when the old youth pastor was there, who is now the senior pastor. So here's the real question. What role do you feel curriculum should play inside the youth ministry? I struggle with being entirely dependent on curriculum because I grew up in a church where the pastor used the Thompson Change King James Bible
Amen.
and then pick a topic and go scripture from scripture through it, and really there was very little preparation involved. I don't want this to occur. I'm passionate about seeing these students grow spiritually, and I don't want to give them something watered down. I feel I may be doing that if I rely on curriculum. What do you think?
Interesting.
Oh.
You're putting an awful lot of value on the message, and the message has an awful lot of value. So I'll say that up front. However, if you're the only communicator, the only voice, that's the first mistake. I would say you need older communicators, younger communicators, male, female communicators,
Fatter communicator.
communicators, skinny. You need people with different perspectives and what you're the pastor, I understand, all that. But if all you're doing is working on talks, no wonder the youth ministry is in decline.
Well, and part of spiritual growth and the discipleship process is the message, and I think
Yeah.
you guys have we've always been teaching and relationships, teaching and this. I mean, I think that's a super important part of the your weekly meeting with students. But if they have no connection to you and no emotional attachment to you, I think it's tough to soak in the prep that you've done.
Yeah.
So the prep is great, and I think the message
think
is
it's super
totally
important,
valuable.
yeah.
But if you're not giving students, some sort of connection to you, just
Yeah.
in a relationship wise. I think that's tough. That's tough.
Well, and I think that I'm afraid. Do you want to go? Sorry.
No, I'll
Go
I'll
out, you'll
summarize
clean
it.
up. Yep. The phrase that I heard at the end was, "I'm afraid if I use curriculum, it might be watered down." And I think there's I have two comments on that. One, you're the gateway, and so it doesn't matter what the curriculum is, whether or not it's going to be watered down or not. So I think that since you're aware of that, and since that's a concern you have, you don't need to worry about.
Don't be
that.
worried about it. I agree.
And I think that any curriculum that is centered around and focused on Scripture, then it will always be deep. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's only one verse every week, and well, that's just not deep because we're not telling people the Greek word for pillow. Then that's cool. I mean, if that's how you see it. No, when Jesus was on a boat, he put his head on a pillow, right? So let's talk about that.
That's good.
So
That's
but
great.
who
When-
cares?
When Jacob
But
laid his head on the rock before his dream.
that's right. That wasn't a pillow. But so my thing, I mean, the whole
Peter and James had that pillow fight.
exactly. It would be funny to Peter and Paul. But anyhow,
Sorry. Yeah, Peter and Paul.
yeah,
It was
like
like
right after
stupid.
Acts 15.
Yeah.
Or
Bummer.
middle of Galatians.
Bible humor. It's tough.
Okay,
It's tough. It's
but
tough
see,
kind of
that's
tough.
deep stuff right there. I don't know if you felt that. But no.
It's all into the delivery. The
yeah,
soft-spoken,
yes.
quiet
Right.
is the
A
deep
few
guy.
obscure
Right.
references,
And the funny guy with
man,
a picture
you
is the
are
shallow guy.
deep. Exactly.
I know
Really
the
deep.
drill.
So this whole, I totally agree 100% with what we're hearing on this side of the table as far as, do you put too much emphasis on the message? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I mean, I think that's possible. So I agree with that. I'm moving on to say, don't worry about it being watered down because it's your mouth it's coming out of. So if it's watered down, it's not because of the curriculum, it's because of you. And curriculum that has Scripture, a part of it, which is what the live curriculum is about, and I'm not just pushing the live curriculum, then it's not going to be shallow. Even if it's bad commentary, questions, and everything else written around it,
Right.
it's still got Scripture.
Well, when you make a comment about your pastor growing up and he's teaching verse by verse through the Bible, and there was very little preparation, I get a little pushback on that because I go, how do you know there was little preparation? Because you just don't know when just because somebody's teaching the Bible verse by verse, there could be a ton more preparation. The fact that it looks like he's just winging it,
Sure,
maybe because
sure.
he had so much preparation. So
Yeah.
if you've got, basically it boils down to a time issue. If he's saying I got 5 or 6 hours, and what I'm hearing you guys say is, instead of 5 or 6 hours, what if you spent 3 hours in prep and 3 hours doing 3 one-on-ones with kids, and then all of a sudden you've got your illustrations come alive a little bit more. Now, to cut your prep down from 6 to 3, I love starting with something, even if I
Yeah.
wind up not using it. And that way a curriculum, who
Even
cares
if it's
whether
crap coming from me.
well,
Just
no,
something to
that's a real
spark
part there.
thoughts and
There
think
you go.
process.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? And whether
That's
you
real.
use our,
All of it
4-year
or none
live
of it.
curriculum or
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, who
else's, it
cares?
doesn't
Right.
matter. Is curriculum doesn't teach itself. It's always through a personality,
Yeah.
through a teacher. But at least it gives you a place to
start.
start, and it's done. Our curriculum anyway has done a ton of the homework for you anyway. So you may be able to save that 3 hours, and that's all. I mean, that's what Simple Youth Ministry was built on 20 years ago. It was use our stuff, let us save you time so you can spend more time with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in stuff like that too, if you have limited time, you should be teaching what comes, not you should, I don't mean it like you should absolutely have to do this, even though that's what I said, I didn't mean that.
That's what I heard.
But yeah, but I mean, to teach out of your quiet times isn't a bad thing. I mean, that's not that you turn every quiet time, you slave it into a message prep time, but there's a balance there. But it's cool to just teach and say, hey guys, this is what God's doing in my life right now. Let's
I've been doing
you
it
know.
just out of my own discipline, since I'm not, Josh doesn't ask me to teach that much. No, just kidding. I'm
gave
just
you
kidding.
8
I'm just kidding. I'm
dates.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. What I was going to say when you were talking about,
him 8, I thought I got 8.
I split him between the two of you.
Just kidding.
I'm hoping that he'll do 6. He'll do 2.
and we just killed another 3 people driving off the car.
Off the treadmill.
Yeah,
Off a
no,
cliff.
actually, when you were talking about different voices, younger, older, you are so
does a
great
good
at
job
that.
of that.
You are great at letting
Yep.
high school kids in your ministry experience the body of Christ. And I think you are a great youth worker because of that. And that's not just because I like to teach there. I just think you've done a good job.
Well, I almost tweeted today, and I didn't. I'm sitting in Chick-fil-A finishing 2,500 word sermon to teach this weekend, and I went, I can be a really good speaker, communicator, teacher, or I can be a good leader, shepherd. And I didn't tweet this because I didn't have the right words, and I obviously don't have them now either. But doing both is
It's
really
really hard. You know, last week I was at Mariners, and Mariners is a big church in Southern California, and I spoke for their services, and this lady came up to me afterwards, and I've heard, you know, because I got the same thing at Saddleback, and she says, "Oh, that was so good." She goes, and she goes real quiet. She goes, "I think you did a better job than, you know,
Other
name
teachers,
the other pastor." And I said to her, "Well, what you don't realize is that I'm not running this church."
Yeah.
And so, well, I was able to spend a lot of time, you know, people that lead the church and then speak every week and try, and the bigger, the more responsibility. It's not even the bigger church. Some youth workers have too
Just
much responsibility.
all on your
Right.
plate.
To try
Yeah.
to do lead and teach well is very difficult. But the old school model is
They're connected.
The teacher is the leader.
The teacher's the leader.
well,
and that's
that
all
you know,
there is
that's
to
been the
it.
model that we've been used to at Saddleback for a
Totally.
long- a
The
long
face
time.
that you see and connect with and hear their stories, and that's the person
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
think are
But
following.
doing both is tough.
Like me meeting with our executive pastor and him saying, "You're not the pastor of the high school ministry."
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Bring up old hurts.
Oh, that was bad for me to laugh in his face. Let's just say, paid for that for a long time.
Yes. This is Sean from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Says 6 months ago I left a full-time youth ministry job, crossed the state line, and started working full-time in another youth ministry position. Since my family has left, some of the former students have consistently, although not abusively or intrusively, contacted us on Facebook. So my question is there a general rule pertaining to how or if a youth worker should contact his or her former students? Further, what is the appropriate response to being contacted by former students? Thanks for an outlet like this. I appreciate it.
It's great question.
Don't be divisive.
Great word.
You can't heap on negativity or.
So you're just
agree
assuming
with-
that a kid's going to contact you and
No. He said, "Is there any ground rules? Is there any?" I'm going.
That's
there.
a good
I'm
one.
going to.
Oh,
That's
you're
one
just
ground
starting
rule.
negative.
Don't be
I'm going.
divisive.
I'm
I
going
forgot
to
who
the
I was talking
outer-
to. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
no, one piece of it.
Well. Exactly. Well, but I mean, what's a kid gonna do? I mean, that's
Well, they're gonna compare.
Humans hate change.
Well, miss you.
And
How's your kids?
Yeah.
Are you
Sure,
still
man.
walking?
Yeah. That's gonna happen. But
I
but
met a
other than
senior boy
that,
at
but the
McDonald's the other night.
the flip side of that is
Catastrophic.
I met with someone.
we hung
Call
out.
back.
It's so funny. It's like,
his
why
head
do
on my
I even
pillow.
try to be
Keep
good?
going. I'm
Why
listening
do I,
to
like
you.
last
Keep
week,
going.
I tried to let them talk, and then I
No,
was asleep.
you are a
This
total
week I
victim.
tried
Yeah.
to
You are a
restrain
total victim.
myself,
You
and
are.
now I
That
mean,
way we can limit our
Oh.
advice to 300 words and youthministry.com.
You can copy it down, put your name on it.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
apostrophe
gosh.
after Doug's with Doug's last name.
my life is an apostrophe.
That was a good tip. Don't be divisive.
Yeah,
Don't be
divisive.
right, that's
But the other
strong.
one
Good
is
job.
don't feel like you can't talk to them. Churches don't own their people. Youth ministries don't own their. It's not this territory. It's not this. It's not the business world where you leave and you're not allowed to talk to your clients. I mean, that's that.
Well, and I would piggyback on the end of that to just say work on the handoff. Work on the handoff
Yep.
from your ministry that you cared for, and now you're handing the ball to someone else. And so
Yeah.
push them
Yeah.
back to, hey, I'm so glad you're dealing with this issue that you just confessed to me. Make sure you share that with Pastor David or whoever's the
Yeah,
next guy or
redirect.
whatever. Right. Redirect them towards that local care and ministry. You're thousands of miles away. You're not the primary caregiver. You still love them. You still care
Yeah.
for them. And maybe a second one would be that this will dissipate over time. A few
Yeah.
relationships
Yes.
that are really meaningful,
Yes.
you'll have the rest of your life.
Sure.
Yeah.
The rest of the 25 kids will appropriately be redirected and cared for by the
Right.
church over a little
Well, and I was
time.
going to say pick your few. You know, as
Totally.
you're leaving, you have
Yeah,
those
show
few that you
favoritism.
connect with. Totally. Pick your favorites and just stick with those. Yeah, no.
I
No,
wrote the
but
book with John.
totally. But you do have those few that you feel like, well, these are my 3 I discipled and mentored, and so
Right.
I feel like I would love for those to be lifelong relationships type thing.
Right.
And with
Right.
media now, we can
Yeah.
keep in contact.
A couple
a
of my
little
old
bit easier.
volunteers from Michigan, one literally just sold their farm and had a major life change. And I was glad to be reconnected with it. The other one, they're
they
pregnant
bet
with their
the
second
farm?
kid. And so
Bought the farm.
a couple students, a couple
Bet the farm.
volunteers.
Buy it too.
I got you.
Thank you. I'm here
Totally
for you.
engaged
Sure,
with what
thank you.
you're
You
saying.
guys. I don't know. I would say a few lifelong relationships have emerged from that, and the rest are
Yeah,
kids are great.
that's healthy. That's
Well,
normal.
let's go back to don't be divisive. Send it back to them.
Yeah.
You know, everything positive. Hey,
Pick your favorites.
You know, yeah.
That's a good word.
Encourage them spiritually. I mean, that half of the New
Totally.
Testament
Yeah.
is we have Paul writing back to the churches to say, hey,
Yeah.
while I've been away, I'm going to encourage you, keep the faith that you had.
Yeah.
I think it's great to stay in contact. It just needs to be positive. And you could even say things like when they complain, when I first got there, everybody complained about me too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just make that person
That's strong.
a hero.
That's cool.
And the only way there's
that.
going to be no contact from a student to a person that's leaving, the only situation would be if it was a bad situation. I mean, if you didn't have good relationships,
Right.
then no. So
Or
the
if you were studying 5 or 6 hours and got up and spoke
know
about
any
it.
kids.
No
Yeah.
one's name.
Oh wow.
That's not that was
cheap, but I
that
like
was a
it.
low-
I don't think you
low
should
but
say
true.
that.
Yeah.
Hey, just a quick update from Matt Cross. He wrote us a long time
Yes.
ago and said
He had
he
the
was
children's book.
he was leaving his church, and he just said, "I want to encourage anyone out there who is going through a job change, willingly or not. If your position changes, remember that your God does not." My family and I went from a very comfy situation to not knowing how the bills are paid each week. However, we're seeing fruit, growth, fun, and lives being changed like never before in our 20 years of ministry. That's good encouragement.
That is
That's
good
that's
encouragement.
cool.
All right, until next week, if you have questions, sympodcast@gmail.com. More than cha-ching, dodgeball.com, live large, look for the Youth Ministry Daily, and
Tell us
And
if you
what
want to go
else?
to Kenya.
Oh, yeah. Tell us if you want to go to Kenya.
Kenya.
And pick
Yeah.
your favorites.
And-
See you next week.
follow Katie on Twitter.
Tell us who
Yes.
your favorite is.
Here we go.
Kate
All right.
Edwards.